Thank you for coming to this session. And today I'll share with you on AI in business. So I'm quite sure all of you had heard about AI. Newspaper is almost like every day talking about AI, etc. So later I'll share with you some news so that you probably will know that how machine today is very ready to help us, to assist us, not to replace us in many of the things that we are doing. So later also I'll share with you this Gartner's report. So there are easily about half of the work that we are currently doing and is able to use machine to assist us. So later also I'll share with you some of the technology. And I also wanted to let you know how advanced today is AI. And more importantly is, are you ready for this AI era? And what are the things that you need to do to be ready for that? And even you could be the one who is the AI programmer as well. So just to do a quick sharing that I was teaching a class last week, and we are building chatbot. So it was Saturday 8 hours, Sunday 8 hours, and students without any programming background, eventually they have created one chatbot on the first day and three chatbot on the second day. So this is how I would say that the programming is quite easy today, including chatbot is one of them. So I like to share with you. Currently, I'm teaching in NTU bachelor degree. I teach AI. So for the master's degree, I'm teaching three AI program. So in my AI class, usually is quite full. That business student today, they also interested in this area as well. So it's not only for computer science student. So that could be applicable for anyone today to learn programming in AI. So this is the news that uh, only very recent. I think it's yesterday. So this is a robot that can screen your resume. So the robot can do a lot of things today. Now, I just want to share two numbers with you. So in many HR department, 4 in 10, so 4 out of 10, right? 40%, they are using this system called ATS. And another numbers that probably will shock you that in average, with the assist of machine, that a HR can cut from 30 minutes to 8 minutes for screening a resume. So this is by DBS Group. And let me share with you a bit on how this can be done. As simple as this text analytics today, that we have to thank all this advanced technology like Google. So what they did is that they vectorized all the text into a certain numbers, that when a machine look at a paragraph of say resume, right? They actually not looking at every single English wording. Rather, they look at the whole statement and then they come up with a string of numbers. That's vectorization. And this Google actually shared all these open source. So it's called Google News Corpus. And they pre-trained 100 billion, 100 billion ways of writing. So in short means today's the machine, when they read the whole paragraph, they can read faster than human, as they are not looking at each word per se. And a whole paragraph or even a whole page, they probably can take maybe 3 seconds to read the whole page. So that is the speed today. So as in responding to the text, there are also quite a lot of libraries available today, open source libraries like Microsoft, their Bings, etc. And those are like they can even give the meaning of the statement or of the word. And not only that, they can even give a value to it, like whether this statement means that it's positive or it's negative. And in addition to that, today we also have all the dictionaries available, such as in Python, we have our NLTK, in R, we have our NLP, etc. And all these, they actually have built-in libraries. Say, for example, they know the names as a library. So if you key in something not within that range, then that is not considered a name, etc. So, of course, human name is only one of the dictionary. Additionally, there are much more dictionary than that. Okay, so few things I'd like to talk about today. First, intro the AI technology to you and how advanced today is the AI technology and how easy to do programming in AI and how easy to use the technology as well. And of course, we are now, AI machine is actually helping us in many things. So including how machine is changing the way we live, the way we work. So think about it, just now the example, the HR. So they are using software to assist them in many areas, right? Including screening of resume. And it can cut short from 30 minutes to 8 minutes. So the other 22 minutes actually is done by the machine. So now, um, the more important is that is the fact AI is changing our world, right? So as for you, or in which profession you are in, what should you do next? So on this topic, I just like to share with you that what happened to as a teacher, right? So now teaching profession is greatly affected by AI as well, and today, right, there are quite a lot of machine that can teach, and our face-to-face teaching, right, is reduced greatly. Give you some numbers. Uh, 3 years ago, it was like 10%, whether it's online or machine, 90% is face-to-face. Today, as of now, is about 60% face-to-face, and 40% is either machine or online, that we rely on all these libraries. And as it happened now, so for us, what are the things that we need to do as a teacher? We need to learn all the online recording of video, and also we have to use some of the available techniques. uh, and there's a lot of, for example, machine generated even questions and answer, etc. So from teachers perspective, we are learning. So there's this blackboard, there's always a lamp, etc. for us to learn. And I would say that not only that we need to learn the technical skill, our mental preparation is also very important. uh, Such as many students probably today they prefer to learn from machine than to learn from physical teachers like us. So these are some of the things that we have to have some mental preparation as well. And COVID now, uh, as we are facing now, now I'm doing online video, right? So COVID actually made quite a lot of effect to our style now. So because of COVID today, we actually is so from teaching perspective, right? We do online, majority online, and so more not only the teaching and online perspective, uh, getting machine to assist human become even more important as COVID situation, we probably face-to-face meeting will be lesser, and maybe hiring people is also not so easy. So machine kick in assisting in many area, not only in the physical part. So I would say in the intelligence part, like for example, data analytics, data science, assist the pharmaceutical to come up with the vaccine, etc. So these are some things that COVID is accelerating the whole situation today. So later I'll share with you more on what is the some other event that can that happen. So now, AI is not the only technology that currently we are facing. So just to share with you a few things that, for example, first of all is the cloud computing. And indeed, today, most of our AI is implemented in cloud. So, for example, we have AWS. For example, we have a Google Cloud Platform. So, I would say cloud is also assisting the AI to progress as well. So things like RPA, which I'm teaching the robotic process automation using UiPath, and we can automate processes like, for example, accounts payable versus statement of accounts from the supplier. So all these Excel reconciliation, bank reconciliation, manual entry of data, many things can be done through this RPA. So another things that I have to point out is that this NLP. So if you look at the today's when we actually talk to the machine can understand that even for example you say not very good versus bad, or not bad versus good, you know. So today with the advancement of the NLP and especially all the libraries available, and make the machine uh, can communicate probably as well as a human. So if you look at the latest one, Google Mina, so there's a, you can YouTube MEENA. So you probably can understand how strong that machine can communicate with human today. So this is an example. This is 2018. Okay, so Deloitte. So they are using this NLP to look at the document and to review the document, and they can reduce greatly from 6 months to 1 month. So we did some project similar to this Deloitte. Is that uh, we did to look at some compliance, whether all the agreement that the company is signing, whether it's complies to the legal departments, and all those we pick up all those non-compliance, and our accuracy can go up to about 92%, where human these staff to look at the document, they are accurate. They only manage to pick up their accuracy is only about 80%, and not counting the label cost and the speed as well. So just purely based on accuracy. So later I'll show you a bit more also on the machine. In certain area, actually machine can perform better than human, including reading of document. And machine, probably the bottleneck is that you need to give the machine some template on what is considered as good and what is considered as not normal. So these are the so-called labeled data. Once you have the labeled data, uh, enough labeled data, like the document that I mentioned to you, we actually have about 2,000 sets of documents to tell us that these are the good one, and then we have another 2,000 sets of document which telling us, yeah, that is not the non-compliance one. With that, the machine actually can start the learning. And okay, so this is another one area that not only machine can, okay, that's a good question. Now, so not only machine can read, the machine can generate. So as long as the report is structured, so structured in the sense that, for example, generating reports, probably like rental agreement, sales agreement, including this accounting compliance report. All these machine can, they may not be able to generate 100%, but they can easily generate 80% as good as, so the human just need to fill up the last 20%. In fact, some of the document, if it's structured enough, they can probably fully automate. So the only thing that I like to share is that machine need to be structured. Unlike human, we can take any unstructured instruction. So when I say structure means that, let's say for example, you have all the report that you want to generate, you can put it nicely in paragraph, and then you can have some rule base that under what situation that I would like to use this paragraph, etc. And the good thing is also that machine can continuously learn. If, let's say for example, it generate the report and it's not so correct, so you can actually have a feedback system to tell the machine that what you have generated is not so correct, and then the machine can start to learn and start to label itself. Okay, so let me just also have a simple explanation on deep learning, which today deep learning is quite important now, because of the computational power today we have, and because of the storage we have in cloud, in data center, etc., we can go into very deep learning. That means that we can create a big neural network or a machine learning with huge computation and with big data. So deep learning today is we are very ready for very complex, a lot of document, a lot of data, and we have to thank also for the programming part that Google, they actually produce library like TensorFlow, etc., to assist us uh, in computation, in programming, and plus we actually have some other technology like Hadoop, etc. So I would say we are very ready for deep learning today. And with the deep learning, what a machine probably can do better than human in many areas, or maybe even up to 50% today. Okay. So the next one, fraud detection. Now, so a lot of people probably misunderstand the error and fraud. That error detection is quite easy, and human can quite easily pick up. And I'm quite sure machine can assist as well. Now, fraud is usually is because of the intention. There's an intention there, so it's not that easy to detect. Even human, because usually fraud detection, a good thief will be looking at a whole sequence of activities in order to create the fraud, and it's usually not easy for human to find out. Now, machine can come in to assist us in fraud detection. So we did a lot of fraud detection activities using machine. Now, why? Because machine, they will not be tiring to read through a lot of data, so they can capture it. And human probably have some limitation, and machine can recall. So, for example, there's a log here in one table, and there's another log in another set of data. So the machine can remember and can tally them. But for human to do that is not so easy, because our memory, there's a limitation to that. So I would say fraud detection is another area that we can machine can assist us. Okay, so this is the self-learn thing. So a lot of people is asking whether can machine learn by themselves. So that means no need human to train them. So I've been talking about how much we have to train a machine. So I just give you a real life example in AlphaGo, that machine trained this AlphaGo, and eventually after 2 years, in 2016, AlphaGo actually beat the Korean champion, and 2017 it beat the China champion Ke. Now, so this DeepMind, which is the AlphaGo founder, and the parents of DeepMind is Alphabet, which is the same as Google. Now, so what did AlphaGo when they won the game versus a human? So the DeepMind thought about using another machine to beat AlphaGo, and that machine is called AlphaZero. And AlphaZero only take 3 months to be better than AlphaGo because of this thing called self-play. So what the AlphaZero, actually they use two technology. I shall not go into the technical detail. One is called GAN, Generative Adversarial Network, and the other one is reinforcement learning. So with this GAN, the, the machine actually just need 500 first generation for human to train him, and the next millions of uh, training set is actually generated by the machine itself. And hence, AlphaZero can beat AlphaGo in 3 months, because when the machine, they wanted to train themselves, they can generate the training set non-stop 24 hours. They no need to wait for human to assist them. So this is the something that how a machine can actually train themselves. And in addition to that, I'd like to share today, right? Same thing for AlphaZero, this reinforcement learning. And with the reinforcement learning, and there's also another technology called DQN, Deep Q Network, which used in reinforcement learning. So this DQN, they use some deep learning that allowed the machine to forget what they have learned wrongly. So now machine also can be like human, they can actually forget. And not only that, the reinforcement learning allowed machine to look back on what they have done, what step have they done wrong, and they can correct it. So they also have this sense of regret. And the good thing about this machine is that after they forget and they relearn, and after they regret and they relearn, they won't repeat the mistake. So human sometimes, we probably have need a few times to be really regret and do it correctly. So that's the difference. So the chatbot. Now in 2011, IBM Watson, despite it's not the core, so they actually won in Jeopardy, and 2016, Xiao Du also won in this 最强大脑. Now, just to share with you, today, 2020, MENA, MENA, actually should be much stronger than IBM Watson into a chatbot. That means into a machine talking to human. And not only that, if you look at Google, they actually bought Google Nest a few years back, and it become this uh, many households actually have this Google Home that you can actually talk to. And now Google can actually, they created the Google Nest that the machine can talk to each other, and they can talk for days. So this is actually also in the YouTube that you can look at machine talking to machine, like two friends, two humans talking to each other. Say for example, how are you? How is your day, etc. So this is the things that how advanced that we are in now. So this is another area of application of chatbot. So Alibaba, they actually use their chatbot. They used to have thousands of people in the call center. And today they are using chatbot to answer 300 million queries a day. That is in 2019. So today probably could be even more than that. So cardio is another area that AI is actually stronger than human. So just now I mentioned a few areas. Of course, there's still, later I'm going to talk to you that some constraint about AI, that certain area still human is stronger than machine. But let's talk about something that machine is stronger than human. So in cardio today, the accuracy for the AI is 90%, where traditional method is 50%. So you can see the drastical difference. And now, why cardio allowed why machine can do well in cardio. First of all, it need a lot of historical data that uh, before entering into this trusting the machine to look at cardio, that the cardiologist actually recorded quite a lot of data, labeled data that allowed the machine. So data is quite important, and with all other technology like computational storage, etc., it allowed the machine to do better. So this is the one I mentioned in my introduction, that 51% of the job will be affected by machine. So machine actually can assist us less today. So, but unfortunately today, right, only 20% of the job that we are doing, we are depending on the machine to assist us. So it means that it gives us another 31% that the machine allowed to actually able to assist us, but yet we are not really capitalizing it yet. So this is the one, the security. So in Ang Mo Kio station. So actually prior to this, right, newspaper was advertising that teachers, security guard, etc. Actually, the robot is available to teach students via robot, available to monitor using robot, etc. So this is the one that happened in Ang Mo Kio, and this one is last year, towards the end of last year. So now AI changing the way we work, and after I show you all the this AI, what AI can do. So now the question is, definitely AI can change the way we work. Okay, so give some example based on this Prof Martin. Uh, so AI actually, one of them he's talking about is this saving life. So next time the medicine actually can be individualized. Okay. So of course today when we bought a medicine, they say buy Panadol, is everyone is the same. Probably two or three category on the strength of the medicine. So in future they could be even more advanced. So but that is quite far future. So talking about today's vaccine, so I'm quite sure they rely a lot on the machine to come up with a vaccine in a faster way. So I'm quite sure in future, if there's any mutation, that the vaccine, the learning curve, so the machine can actually come up with a vaccine probably even faster and faster. So another one now. So this is the unemployment. So just repetitive job becoming a problem. So actually he pointed out on transportation and food services. So I'm quite sure that now you can probably see some restaurants is using robot to take the tray from you, and transportation. I think you probably can foresee that self-drive car is coming in. So next time you just jump into the car and just tell the machine to say, please bring me to, say, for example, Palo Square, etc. So all these are coming, and I think not only coming, but it is, I think, coming soon. Okay, so let's talk about something that AI cannot do. So pick up by Prof. Martin. So soft skill is quite important that that we actually can probably focus on. And this another one that this AI cannot replicate is like empathy. So communication, creativity, etc. Now, of course, this is quite correct as of now. We can't foresee that this will be in the near future, but in the far future, it may be different. Okay, but just to share with you also that we have quite other senses, like not only our eyes and our ear, right? So senses like, for example, taste and smell. So just to let you know that machine is now starting to understand the taste, uh, and probably in the near future, they probably can start to understand smelling as well. So all the six senses eventually I would say that machine may be able to do that. So this is the one that I mentioned. This slide is prior to the Ang Mo Kio, the security guard, the robot, security robot. We actually Straits Time was talking about the teachers using a robot, including librarian as well. So these are the things that is a low-hanging fruits for automation. Of course, there are more to it. So things like, for example, maybe in future, probably artists is also possible, right? So with the machine can generate a lot of artificial faces. So quite a lot of things that a machine can do today. So these are the more common one. So now, as a professional, more importantly, how can we adapt to AI? So this is the important topic for today. So um, from teaching profession perspective, so I'm sharing with you. So of course, later I'll share with you in a more broader way as well. So for example, video recording, video conferencing, these are some of the simple machine can assist us, but may not be using machine learning. So things like, for example, cloud, we probably have to understand how to use cloud. I'm quite sure that from the hard disk perspective, like Dropbox, these some other is quite common today. And not only that, on the implementation wise, even today we have our Python programming or our programming is actually all using cloud. Even when we launch our application, we actually need to configure Google Cloud Platform to do that as well. So also the third thing I would say, education and training in AI. So I think that probably we have to start to learn more about what can AI do and what can AI don't, and not only that, probably some skills that we wanted to learn. So as I mentioned, nowadays we can actually create a chatbot without one line of code. And RPA also, actually there's no software tools like UiPath. You do not need even to learn programming, and you can just use the UI icon base of programming to automate processes. So chatbot and RPA is actually only two things that I mentioned, but there are many other things that we can do that. And also, I just wanted to share one more thing, that even coding nowadays quite simple with all the libraries. And in addition to that, some of the coding now we are actually entering into coding, like using some natural English that you can write, that the machine can understand what you want to do the coding. It actually can generate the code for you. So you just type, for example, say I want to I want to build a calculator. So a simple, probably starting with some simple arithmetic, and a machine can generate the code for you, a calculator function, right? So this is something that as a profession that you probably would like to learn more. What can AI do today? And how easy is the programming, how easy to create chatbot, to automate processes. Another one area that I like to emphasize on is the dashboard skill today. Now, today with the tools, dashboard become important because we need information and we want information real time and fast. So there are software like Power BI, Tableau, they can give us the tools. And with a web base, you actually can look at all the numbers from the handphone, etc. That we probably need to adapt to the world of analytics. So I'm quite sure that most of you have heard about data analytics, data science, etc. And this is very common today as well. So automation skill, just I mentioned, chatbot, RPA. So in my 2 days courses, Saturday, Sunday, so usually 2 days we can build about 4 chatbot And to automate processes, small processes, in 2 days time, we probably can teach students to do easily maybe 10 small automation processes. So that is quite, so within 16 hours, you probably can do, you can learn how to automate quite a lot of processes. So of course, RPA and Chatbot has libraries quite a lot as well. And the tools that we are using is quite high level tools that is icon based. However, if students wanted to go into more detail, they actually can look into Python. So Python can do chatbot, Python can do RPA as well. So of course, we also teach that, but then that is a more advanced level. So of course, technology updated because there's quite a lot of new technology coming out. As I mentioned, I shall show you that how powerful it is. So probably as a you probably need to keep yourself updated on the latest technology. And for example, myself, I just look at Mina's video like 2 3 days back. I'm amazed that how much today Mina can do much better than Siri, that we commonly know, right? Now, so Prof Ito from this Stanford AI lab, so he actually encouraged people to learn a few things that is quite important. So synthesize information, because there's so many information that we have today, and especially even Straits Times today is already too slow, because before that all the social media already let you know the news, etc. So, but the question is how to synthesize all this information. So of course we have to think critically. We cannot think things that is normal. We have to think out the box, and we have to keep thinking why. Because if you just think at a just a general way, a machine can do that. So we probably have to go at least one level more than machine. So this is something that we should do according to Prof Ito. And of course flexible. So machine are more structured, and human actually quite flexible, and we are we are quite unstructured, good and bad. But machine definitely had to be structured. And of course education. So probably have to keep yourself up to date on what is today's technology. And things are getting, I mean, I'm quite sure you have seen on the road, going to restaurants, airport, etc., right? But those are considered quite late, because those are already, the technology is already in the market. But there are many technology now in the process of going into the market. So I would say that information and education is also very important. So now this is something that COVID at least assists me. So now I comfortably talk in Zoom, for example. So this is what the machine can assist us today. And during my first experience talking in Zoom, so I was just worrying that, are you listening? Can I look at the audience? What is your expression? But today I do not need all these things. I have quite a good sense of security now relative to about 8 months ago. So video recording, and I think this is another thing from the teaching perspective. So I think for the last 1 year, probably I have recorded maybe like 500 videos. So this is the way to go. Then of course, we have to keep thinking about this automation as COVID kicks in, right? So I mean, have taught us that there are many things that we probably should automate and less rely on human labor. And even now, many companies actually allow you to work from home, etc. So also hiring people, it could be an issue as well. So I shall not go into the detail on the software that I want to introduce you, but I would like to highlight only like one or two of them. So one of them I like to highlight is Keras. So this software is actually good for deep learning, and it built on top of TensorFlow. So I would say that Keras can allow you to build this deep learning uh, probably in one day or even half a day. So you actually today the programming is not that difficult as before with all the libraries assisting us. So this is the one that Google pre-trained 100 billion words. This is the one that I mentioned, and it actually converted to 300 dimension of vectors, and is actually an open source. So now that is talking about wordings, but just now I mentioned to you on dictionary, on word sentiment as well. So these are the few things that today the technology have. Okay, so the last few minutes, I'd like to share with you what have NTU Business School done. So first, we actually have this stock market prediction. So we use a lot of AI modeling. We use text analytics, and of course, including Google's news corpus, sentiment analysis, etc. And we also do deep learning using Keras. So stock prediction is one of them. And the second one I'd like to share with you is the one that we participate in the competition in the data science challenge in 2019. So we use deep learning neural network, and we also use convolution neural network to understand the description of the product and the picture of the product and which category should the product belong to. So these are the other aspect. Okay, so this is the most common one. We have generated many chatbot. I think for the last 2 years, we have generated easily more than 10 chatbot running live. Some of them, the accuracy can go up to 90 over percent. Some of them, the accuracy is only 70 over percent. Bear in mind that if there's a feedback system, the accuracy can continuously improve. So when you build the AI system, very important that you must have a feedback system for the system to learn continuous learning. It need not to be real-time learning, but it can be periodically. You can actually let the machine relearn again. So blockchain, so I shall not discuss too much about blockchain today. So we have built several blockchain, and some of them is running live. So probably the biggest challenge that we have in blockchain is how to encourage people to participate. Despite it's very secure the data, and it's not easy to break because of the security, the hash code, etc. So the biggest probably the challenge is that have to probably let people know why must you go into blockchain, because it's still a new technology. So I'll conclude. The last one is that we have our MSBA from NTU by Nanyang Business School. So we are this program is intend to build data analysts, data scientists, and business analysts, and fresh grad are welcome. And the first batch was July 2020. The next batch is 2021, and admission already started. And it's 1 year program or for part-time, for full-time, and 1.5 years for part-time. And there are altogether 12 subjects that you need to take. And it's all on evenings and Saturday. So that's me. So thank you for listening for the last 45 minutes. And maybe I can move to answering questions. Okay, so now let me see. Okay, so maybe I just start to answer the easier one. The one that I often face is the machine learning and deep learning. What's the difference? Now, usually, although it's not that popular yet, the terminology, so in general today, with any machine, whether it's rule-based or machine learning, we consider all this as artificial intelligence. So the machine learning is a subset of AI, and the machine learning is when there is a learning take place. That means that it doesn't include rule-based. So the machine must learn. That means there's a data, there's a labeled data. So you tell the machine that this is male, female, and this is the characteristic of male and female. So that is called machine learning. Now, deep learning is part of machine learning. But why we use the word deep? means that there is many layers of neurons. So usually if you look at linear regression, decision tree, they don't come with many layers of neurons. So when we have many layers of neuron, usually we call it deep learning. And not only layers of neuron in parallel, layers of neuron can be in sequence. So if it's parallel plus sequential, then we call it deep learning as well. Okay. So okay, ethics. Okay, behind AI, sure. So now okay, so that is a problem. I think that so if you look at the last 10 years, Singapore government have enact a few law that yes, definitely they need to enact a AI law as well. Okay, so we have enacted Property Agent Law Act, right? So we have Private Institution Act, etc. So probably we need that because the machine when they generate, and if you rely on the information, then there is a danger behind, you know. So the creator must probably comply with certain standard before you launch it, and before you let the machine take over. You probably need to have some validation uh, to make sure that the accuracy is there before you launch it. So that's, I think, quite a few things that the government probably have to govern that as well. Okay, so of course from the company perspective, it's also good that they have the internal policy, but very soon I think government have to kick in to have a top down this ethical to govern the ethic part. Oh, machine. Okay. So just give you some accuracy level. Thank you, Louis Pang. So now, just share a chatbot with you. So I have launched a chatbot with 100 questions, and accuracy is like 95%. So I was so excited. I said, oh, chatbot, I'm quite sure I can do well. So in the chatbot, I did one about 500 questions, so the accuracy dropped until 70%. So I would say that today probably accuracy is not so easy for small research. However, if today just give you some numbers as well. Like for example, one of them is to recognize the face. So Intel OpenCV, they actually can pre-learn about 100 million different faces, and that accuracy can go to 99% or even more. So like Google News, they can pre-learn 300 billion of words. So the accuracy definitely going to be very high. Yeah. So let me see, Jessica. RPA helps the automation process, but oh, okay, yeah, no, RPA do not need to. So Jessica, so just to let you know, maybe just brief you on UiPath. So UiPath had this community version that allow you to use it and allow you to start your POC until when you realize it, and when this whole program actually can work. So then you need to pay for the license, because not every process can be automated, especially those software without the integration. So RPA basically have two types of automation. One is the software is integrated into the program, like UiPath, they actually can integrate with Word, Excel, Google Chrome, Microsoft Outlook, etc. So those that the software that integrate with UiPath or RPA software, so those definitely you can automate it because it's integrated. You didn't even need to open the Word program. So automatically it will do behind the scene. But those without integration, the software, like for example, web-based. So you want to click to fill in application form, etc. Now the accuracy is not 100%. It may be 70%. So you may want to try it out first. You may not want to buy it yet, you know. So if it works, then of course. So, but just also to highlight to you, more and more software actually integrated into RPA. Or in another word, today, if you create a software or you create a web page, let's say ask people to fill in a form, etc. If your web page or your software are not able to integrate with RPA, it's not easy for your software to survive. Okay, so say for example, you create accounting software, but your accounting software cannot integrate with RPA, but SAP can, QuickBook can, for example, then you probably can't survive because people will buy the software that can integrate with RPA because they cannot keep relying on human to key in the data, or they cannot keep relying on human to use your software. They need machine to use your software. So of course, I do not know how much we progress today, but those software that I mentioned to you, those common software like Word, Excel, all these things, definitely all RPA can do it. Can, of course, Joey. Yeah, definitely. So, if you're looking at, I think you're talking about probably Excel table. Yeah, definitely. Excel definitely is integratable to, I would say, I can't say all, but most of the RPA can integrate with Excel. So you actually can write to Excel, read from Excel, or even manipulate the cell without even opening Excel at all. So the RPA can have a, we call it API to connect to the Excel, definitely. Okay, so automation and sub-assembling industry. Okay, so I'm not in manufacturing, but so the RPA, although it sounds like robotic, right? So I'm teaching the IT component of the RPA. So for example, the RPA software, the one that I mentioned, UiPath, actually the function 80% is on physical robot that I'm not very familiar with. So 20% is on those IT thing. IT thing is like keying data into Excel, submit application form to the web portal using Google Chrome, etc. So this area I'm familiar, but the robotic side, I would say that it should be very advanced. Despite I'm not so sure how advanced it is, but I'm quite sure you can program the physical robot easily using RPA software. No need learning code in a master AI. Now, so I would say in either our mini master or our MSBA, so the coding, right? I give you one example on number of lines of codes that needed. So to write a deep learning programming, say for example, to look at photo and then to classify the photo, a simple one is like which category the photograph because based on the photo of the product, which category should it go to? I would say the total lines of code today using Keras, right? You probably do not need um, less than 30 lines of code if you use Keras CNN, convolution neural network, to classify the pictures. So nowadays the code is very efficient. The only thing probably you have to collect the data. You need a lot of label data. So that could be some bottleneck. And now, although it's a bottleneck of collecting label data, but you need not start with all the label data ready as in day one because the machine can continuously learning. I just give you OpenCV, Intel OpenCV for a good example. About 15 years back, they only use 1 million face to train to understand a face of a human. Today, about 100 million. So you need not start with 100 million, right? So, but even with 1 million, the accuracy is already 90%. That was 15 years back technology. Only thing is that with 100 million, last time you probably can only recognize one picture, there's only one face. Today, you can recognize a picture with maybe 30 faces, no issue, right? So as the learning data, training data is labeled data more available, the machine will be smarter and smarter. Okay, so how can we get a better understanding of ethics? Okay, so now we have one class, it's called Sustainable AI in our MSBA program as the electives, and that is talking about the detail on the ethical part. Yes, I will say that this is a big issue. This is a big issue, and this is going to be a big issue. And I would say it need to be top down. that means the person who manage the country need to probably look into this area. As you see that now, just give you one numbers that will be okay. So when we talk about chatbot accuracy, right? So when I say okay, 95% the chatbot accurate. Now, how accurate is the information is based on the customer label. Say okay, the answer is correct, but is the answer really correct? Maybe no, because the user probably don't know that whether the answer is correct or wrong. So now, so is it ethical to go and tell people, oh, our chatbot is 90% accurate, etc.? So this could be a issue in terms of ethics part. Okay, so what's the difference between uh, oh, okay, okay, yeah. So yeah, very good. That's a good question, Caroline. So now, MSBA and MSA. So I'm the ACAD director for MSBA, and the ACAD director for MSA is Nicholas. So he's also teaching in MSBA as our electives. So now, I would say that they are more into mathematics and science component, but we are more into application, so more into realization. So for example, when MSAI ACAD director, so he teach in our MSBA elective, so he's actually risk management expert lah. So he actually apply all the analytics skill in risk management, so including financial risk and operation risk. So we are more into realize. So we are not going into library and then after that to make it a better library and to change the mathematical model. We are not doing that. So we actually more onto using the library to solve problem. So we are closer to the problem solving level. So how far is the okay, so very unfortunate. So the accuracy for the uh, share prediction is not high. In fact, is okay. So how we benchmark with the accuracy is that we actually subscribe to many prediction software. So usually cost about $30 per month, etc. So there are many prediction software available today, and they actually can show you their accuracy. So unfortunately, we are not very strong yet in this area. However, some software actually can predict quite accurate. To some of them even 0.1, 0.2%, up to 0.1, 0.2% with a lot of historical data proven. So, but myself, I'm entering into this. Just my personal interest. So I enter into more on the those abnormal gain alpha, and we look at only news when the news coming in. There's a volatility on the like 10 minutes before the news coming in and 10 minutes after that. And during that period, the market is not so efficient, and it's easier for us to have alpha during that 10 minutes up down, and we are using reinforcement learning, and then we are using the infinite we call it DQN, deep Q network. So these are the things that I'm currently looking into, although it's not proven yet. So I would say that it's not easy. It's not easy for stock market. Okay, so US election. So US election, I never tried that before. But I think it's quite unpredictable. So from the 2016 and 2020, and that is based on my own prediction. Okay, so machine, I'm not so sure. Are there cases that AI will use? Okay, yes, definitely in a negative way. So that's why I talk about this fraud. So because fraud is always a sequence of action. It's not one action per se, right? So if it's one action per se, it's quite easily get caught, right? So it's always a long sequence. Okay. So I will say that for a long sequence, right, human probably have some limitation. And from far future, right, I would say that yes, it will be machine against machine. And Also, human may not be patient, right? So let's say you hack into a system, then you probably have to uh, probably wait patiently for opportunity to come. Human may not. Human may be, wait, then impatient, then try, then get caught, So now, I would say in the far future, probably for fraud, including hacking, cybersecurity, probably this probably machine against machine in future. So the thief is actually machine, and the police is also machine. Okay, that's my own thinking lah. Okay, so is there any machine? Yeah, definitely. Definitely cybersecurity, AI in cybersecurity anomaly detection. So I did personally a lot of this cybersecurity, and yes, and I would say that for human to detect cybersecurity is going to be a bit tough in long run. Think about it. A simple SOC center, you probably have a lot of logs, millions of logs per second, for example, right? So they are all data streaming. But how fast can human pick up all this? It's not going to be easy. And too many activities in the network, too many activities in a computer today, because everyone relying on computer, right? So I would say the data streaming part, human, I would say there's a lot of limitation, and we probably have to rely on machine to pick up, because even to read, let's say even logs or structured data, our human eyes may not be even fast enough to read that. And if you look at Google can pre-train 300 billion words. So Google can pick up all these things, and probably 0.01 second, he understand the whole logs, So in 1 second, he can understand maybe thousands of logs, but we won't be able to do that. We probably, in general, I think we probably need like 6 seconds to read one logs, So it's very, it's too far away. Personal experience with many company customers chatbot is quite bad. Okay, yeah, I totally agree with that. So I've created many chatbot. We even in the exercise or real life. So I think that I just give you some numbers lah. I think within 100 questions, or most of the chatbot can do well. So if you go to 500 questions, right? Most of the chatbot, unless it's a professional chatbot with a lot of data, probably cannot do well. So, like for example, myself, right? So, if you tell me today, if it's 100-question chatbot, I'm confident that I still can give a reasonable reply, and customer satisfaction is still there. Anything above 100 is great. Anything above 500 is not possible. But just to also share with the NG, a professional chatbot, right, is just a number that you need to be able to handle about 2,000 questions, 2,000 questions, and you need to handle the accuracy need to be 90 over percent accurate, as in customer, the user thought that is correct. It need not to be absolutely correct. So these are some numbers that that's today. However, this is 2020. So if you look at 20 maybe 05, things could be totally changed. Okay, maybe 500 questions is nothing then, probably the accuracy is like 99%. So we are evolving now. Will small company lose out as they don't have? Yeah, definitely. Now, uh, today there are basically two types of software in AI. Let's talk about chatbot alone. So the one that I'm using free is called Snatchbot, and of course you can use Python to do it, and Python, so it's also free lah. So Python open source is called Chatbot, and of course you can use Flask, etc., to assist in the user interface. Now all these free one, there is a lot of limitation in terms of features. Just give you one example, that natural language processing NLP, the Snatchbot only have 19 NLP pre-trained, including humans name, right? 19 only, 19 NLP. And the 19 NLP, not only they have only 19 in terms of numbers, but also the pre-trained, I do not have the numbers, but they probably can't train so many. Versus expensive tools, of course, those are free. So versus expensive tools, I do not have the price, uh, uh, but just by looking at the end results, right, they probably have hundreds of NLP. When I say end result, means like Siri, right? I talk to Siri, etc. So, or even maybe thousands of NLP. So yeah, definitely, definitely. However, but I would say that the proof of concept is very important. You probably want to use free software tools to do proof of concept, then you can realize it when you are confident, but of course that you have to pay the software for it. So how about maintenance cost and effort to maintain such a solution? Wow. Okay. Now this is a problem. Technology move too fast. So and AI, you probably need to continuously learn, and you need to validate before he can learn, because he can't be learning the wrong thing. Say for example, in a chatbot, if you say, okay, this is the answer that I'm not satisfied, right? And I think probably this could be a better answer. So you, but the question is, you still need to validate. Are you sure this is correct? You know, if it's continuous improvement before you go into the train set. So I would say validation is also a problem, and I would say maintenance is an issue. And despite saying the data alone, you need validation, the algorithm keep changing. So there's always new thing coming out. So whatever is good today, for example, XGBoost, LSTM, another 5 years, maybe all this model has been outdated. So that is a issue. So I would say that yes, it's not going to be cheap. But the good thing is that once you have the system versus the operating expenses by human, so this is still a small fraction, you know, if you can automate the process. Oh, how about AI trading? Yeah, correct. It's not easy. So so far I not so encouraging yet. I've been doing this for the last 4 or 5 years. Simply because we can always look at historical data, and we can actually, obviously we can know whether our result is better or other software is better. So we are not even as compatible or comparable with those $30 per month share prediction. And yeah, I'm still working on that. So we probably have to go into niche area rather than the normal trading in the share market. For example, the one that I'm moving into is trade on news like PMI, news like US president election, etc. You know, so we probably can look into that. Okay. So now, so how many types of AI? Oh, many. There are many types. No, okay. So for AI, basically we have supervised, we have unsupervised, and semi-supervised. And supervised training, you must have label, and usually they are expensive. You need to know whether this characteristic, this role means, say for example, you want to categorize male or female, you know. So you need to have label. Unsupervised means you don't have label, you just have data, then you just want to group the data into maybe 5 groups or 10 groups. So this is the unsupervised component. But the unsupervised part is the information is not so useful, because if it's unsupervised, then it's like someone telling you that there's a phone call for you. They say, what is a phone number? I don't know. Who is the person who called me? I don't know. So the unsupervised learning is actually this issue. So usually the unsupervised learning is other than, like for example, you can in a target marketing. So you probably want to sell certain product to this particular group of people, but you do not know whether can sell or not. So you just try and error. Then from there, you can start to label. So I would say unsupervised learning, hopefully in future, can lead to labeling as well. But you need to try and error for unsupervised learning. So the one that I'm doing is semi-supervised in this reinforcement learning. Is that what I did is that I have many agents. So it's like reminder or trader, right? So now I allowed the trader to trade, to buy, sell, you know, first. You just freely, arbitrarily. You do not know whether right or wrong. So from there, I will tell the trader, of course, the machine will tell the trader, say, okay, you have done wrongly. So I give you -5 point. monetary lah. Okay, you have done correctly. I give you 8. So positive 8. So this is semi-supervised where I teach you after you try and error. So the teaching part will be the reward and the punishment will be the supervised part. But the action is the unsupervised. But that is round one. So after this trader learn, let's say for 30 minutes, sorry, 30 minutes, sorry. After this trader learn for let's say 100,000 episode. So the next movement, the trader, he may want to not to just arbitrarily do it. He may want to use whatever he learned previously. Then he listen to the machine. Machine say, "Hey, now you should buy." Then he buy. Then or you say machine tell him sell, he sell. But in reinforcement learning, a good trader will not follow 100%. So usually the second round after 100,000, the second 100,000, I will allow the trader to try himself maybe 30%, follow the machine 70%. But the 70% is learned from the previous episode. So this episode, the 70%, you are actually exploiting it. So the exploration is only the 30%, but this is the 30% that he can continuously learn. So he have to learn again. Then the next round, he probably use 80-20. Then after that, 90-10. So eventually, we do not want the trader to explore too much. We want the trader to explore only 5%. And then 95% still using what he have learned over the years. So this is semi-supervised reinforcement learning. But this is a very good question. Yeah. So thank you. Yeah, over to you.